You ever think about materials that just disappear when you're done with them?
Or maybe just the big push for greener products everywhere.
Exactly. There's this material kind of bubbling under the surface in both those areas. It's water-soluble nylon resin.
And for this deep dive, we're actually looking at it through the lens of, well, a source focused specifically on its market dynamics.
Right. So not just the science, but the business side.
Yeah, why it's catching on commercially, where the money sees it going.
Okay. So our goal here is to really unpack what makes this stuff significant from, a market angle
Figure out where it's actually being used right now,
and what hurdles it's facing, the big challenges.
and maybe peek into where it could be heading.
Yeah, think of it as getting a clearer picture of this niche, but definitely growing part of sustainable materials.
And the source makes it pretty clear the main driver here is sustainability. It's the environment pushing this.
Makes sense. Industries are under pressure, right?
Mhm.
Plastic waste, carbon footprints.
Totally. And this material offers, well, a kind of elegant out, a polymer that does its job, then washes away. Minimal fuss, minimal residue.
So it directly answers that call for greener alternatives.
Okay, much.
Okay, so where is it actually, physically being used?
Yeah.
The source mentioned apparel, textiles.
Yeah, that's a big one. Think temporary stitching, holding complex bits together during assembly.
Like in embroidery or technical gear.
Exactly. You assemble the garment, then just wash it, and those temporary threads, gone.
So it gets rid of the need to manually pick them out. Clever.
Saves time, saves labor. And beyond clothes, the source also talks up its role in additive manufacturing, 3D printing.
Oh, interesting. How does it work there?
It's used as a support material. Imagine you're printing something really complex, maybe with internal channels or overhang.
Right. Things that would collapse during printing otherwise.
Precisely. So you print the support structure using this water-soluble nylon. Once the main part is finished, you just dunk it in water.
And the support dissolves, leaving the complex part intact.
Yep. Especially useful in high-stakes fields like aerospace prototypes or medical devices. Clean removal is key.
Okay, so really useful where you need that precision and easy removal. But the source flags some issues, right? Hurdles.
Yeah, and this is important for thinking about how widely it can really be adopted. Cost is a major one.
More expensive than regular nylon.
Significantly more, according to the source. It comes down to the specialized way it has to be made.
How so?
Well, you need polymer chains strong enough for the job, but also designed to break down easily in water. That takes really precise molecular engineering.
That kind of technical challenge bumps up the price tag. Makes sense. What else?
Performance limitations are another big factor. I mean, it's designed to dissolve, right?
So it's probably not as tough as standard nylon.
Generally, no. Lower mechanical strength, and it's more sensitive to moisture even before you want it to dissolve.
Okay, so you wouldn't build like a load-bearing structure out of it.
Definitely not. It's not for applications needing super high strength or long-term stability against the elements.
So its niche is really that temporary support role.
That's where it shines. The source also points to a fairly limited supply chain.
Meaning not many companies actually make this stuff.
Exactly. Developing and scaling up production takes serious R&D money and specific know-how. That's a barrier to entry.
Which probably keeps supply tight and maybe prices higher too.
Could definitely contribute, yeah. Fewer players, less competition.
So we've got challenges, cost, strength limits, the concentrated supplier base. But that sustainability push is strong. Is there potential to overcome these?
Oh, absolutely. The source suggests there's a lot of R&D happening right now.
Trying to fix those weaknesses?
Yep. Working on new formulas for better strength, maybe materials that dissolve only at certain temperatures, improving how it works with other printing materials or fibers. That R&D is crucial for opening up more uses.
And thinking about new uses, beyond the current ones in textiles and 3D printing, where else might this go?
The source gets pretty excited about potential in medical and pharma.
Oh, like what?
Think dissolvable stitches or internal supports used during surgery that the body just absorbs later. Or maybe single-use packaging for sterile instruments that dissolves during cleaning.
Because it dissolves cleanly and could be biocompatible? Hygiene and precision.
Exactly. Very appealing for those kinds of controlled environments.
And the source connects this back to the bigger idea of the circular economy.
Yes, definitely. The whole idea of keeping resources in use, minimizing waste, water-soluble nylon fits right in.
How so?
Because it can be used as a temporary sacrificial component that just disappears cleanly. No landfill waste, no complicated recycling needed for that specific part. It supports closed-loop systems.
Okay, so let's sort of wrap this up. What's the big picture from this deep dive?
Well, it shows water-soluble nylon as the specialized material, really pushed forward.
This audio was created with podcastle.ai.
Shows water-soluble nylon as the specialized material, really pushed forward by the green movement.
Finding key jobs in places like textiles and 3D printing supports.
Right. But facing real-world market challenges, cost, strength, limited suppliers. However, the potential looks really strong. You've got targeted R&D, addressing the weaknesses, exciting new high-value uses popping up, like in medicine.
And that perfect fit with the circular economy concept.
Yeah, it's carving out its own valuable, specialized niche in the polymer world. It's not taking over everything, but it's growing where it makes sense.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How just changing one fundamental property of a material, like making it dissolve in water, isn't just some lab trick. It can totally change how we design things, how we make them, how we deal with the waste.
And it also creates a whole new set of problems to solve, engineering-wise, cost-wise.
Right. So here's something to chew on. What other seemingly simple material properties, if we could engineer them differently, might unlock completely new, unexpected ways to build a more sustainable future? Okay, let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive today into something that sounds maybe a bit specific. Water-soluble nylon resin.
It does sound specific, yeah. But here's where it gets really interesting. We're looking at its market forecast. We've got data pulled from a source looking right at this niche, stretching from 2021 all the way out to 2033.
Right. So our mission today really is to cut through the noise for you. We want to guide you through the key numbers, the growth rates, the areas driving it, basically give you a shortcut to understanding where this material is heading financially.
Exactly. Think of it as getting the what and the why behind the projections, nice and clear.
Absolutely. So let's start big, the global picture. Back in 2021, the market for this water-soluble nylon resin was valued at $429.1 million.
Yeah, just under $430 million. And the source shows a really clear upward path. It's projected to hit $550 million by 2025.
Okay.
And then you see a pretty significant surge heading towards $903.4 million by 2033, almost double where it started.
That's serious growth for, well, like you said, a niche material. And the source puts a number on that climb, right? A global CAGR.
It does, a compound annual growth rate globally of 6.4%. Pretty steady.
So what's behind that? What's driving this, according to the source?
Well, it points to increasing industrial demand. Basically, businesses in various sectors are looking for materials that offer both high performance and are better environmentally, biodegradable options.
Ah, okay. So it hits that sweet spot of function and sustainability people are looking for now. And the source mentions specific applications. Where is this stuff actually being used?
Exactly. Knowing the applications helps make sense of the numbers. The main ones highlighted are textiles, 3D printing, and pharmaceuticals.
Okay, textiles, 3D printing, pharma. How does it work there? Like, give us an idea.
Well, think about textiles. Maybe performance fabrics that need to dissolve away later. Or in 3D printing, it's often used for support structures. You print something complex, and then you just wash away the supports with water. Super easy.
Right, I see. And pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, maybe in coatings or delivery systems where water solubility is key. So those specific uses are really driving that overall demand we see in the numbers.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, global picture, key drivers, main applications. Check. Now let's zoom in. Where is this growth actually happening around the world? Which regions are popping?
All right, let's start with North America. In 2021, it was already a decent-sized market, $131.4 million.
Okay.
And it's projected to grow steadily, reaching $164 million by 2025, and then $259.5 million by 2033.
Solid growth. And the regional KGR for North America?
That comes in at 5.9%.
Okay.
And within the region, no surprise, the United States is the biggest piece of the pie.
Right, the U.S. leads. How big are we talking?
U.S. started at $105.4 million in 21, heading towards $205.7 million by 33. That's a 5.8% CAGR.
Okay, so slightly below the regional average. What about Canada and Mexico?
Yeah, that's interesting. They're smaller markets, obviously. Canada was $12.9 million, Mexico $13.1 million back in 21. But their growth rates are projected a bit higher. Canada's at 6.4% CAGR, Mexico at 6%.
So stable growth across North America, but slightly faster rates in Canada and Mexico compared to the U.S.
Exactly. Now, moving over to Europe, also showing strong potential. It started at $116 million in 2021.
Okay, a bit smaller than North America initially.
A little smaller, yeah. but projected to grow quite nicely, reaching $145.3 million by 2025 and then $236 million by 2033.
And the overall European growth rate?
The CEGR for Europe is pegged at 6.2%, so slightly higher than North America overall.
Okay, and within Europe? Any standouts?
Definitely. The source highlights the UK, for instance. It's projected for strong growth, going from $9.6 million to $21 million. That's the highest European CGR mentioned, actually, at 6.9%.
Oh, okay. UK leading the pace. What about, say, Germany? Usually a big industrial player.
Germany's got impressive numbers, too. Starting at $18.4 million, it's forecast to hit $40.1 million by 2033. That's a robust 6.7% CGR, also very strong.
Right. France.
France shows more moderate growth. $12.6 million up to $23.8 million, with a CAGR of 5.6%. Still healthy.
And the source mentions others. Italy, Russia.
Yeah, it touches on Italy, growing from $6.1 million to $10.6 million. Russia from $17.7 million to $34.5 million. It also mentions Spain and Luxembourg having CAGRs of 6.5% and 5.8% respectively.
Okay.
And importantly, the rest of Europe category shows really significant growth too, more than doubling from $33.9 million to $72.9 million. So adoption is spreading beyond just the biggest economies.
Got it. So North America and Europe are solid growing markets.
Yeah.
But the source specifically calls out one region as, what was the term, the most dynamic.
That's the one, Asia Pacific. This region is really flagged as a powerhouse for this market.
Okay, let's hear the numbers.
It was already the largest market in 2021 at $155.6 million.
Right.
And the forecast is for really impressive expansion, hitting $200.5 million by 2025, and then surging to $345.6 million by 2033.
Wow, it's a huge leap. That's going to be significantly larger than North America or Europe by then.
Absolutely. And the regional CAGR reflects that energy. It's a strong 7%.
7%. Okay. And who's driving that within Asia Pacific?
Yeah.
China, I assume.
China is definitely the dominant player by volume. It started at $63.5 million.
This audio was created with podcastle.ai.
Dominant player by volume. It started at $63.5 million and is projected to more than double, reaching $142.8 million by 2033. Its CAGR is 7.1%, slightly above the regional average.
Okay, makes sense. But you said the region was dynamic. Any other major highlights?
Yes. The real standout in terms of rate of growth is India. The source points to India having the highest CAGR mentioned anywhere in the report.
Oh, how high?
A striking 7.6%.
7.6%. Wow.
Yeah, it really jumps out. India's market is expected to grow from $26.2 million in 2021 to $62.7 million by 2033. So incredibly rapid expansion happening there.
Okay, so Asia Pacific is clearly the engine here. Massive scale from China, super fast growth from India. What about other places there? Japan, Korea?
The source indicates healthy growth is expected from Japan, South Korea, and Australia too, though it doesn't specify their KGRs in this summary. Southeast Asia is also mentioned, contributing with a more modest but still positive CGR of 4.6%, growing from $26.1 million to $48.7 million.
Right, so a really strong picture overall in Asia Pacific, but with some variation. Now, shifting south, Latin America.
Latin America is noted as showing strong potential as well.
Okay. Any specifics? Brazil, maybe?
Brazil is the key example given. Projected for quite significant expansion, it started small, $5.1 million in 2021, but is forecast to reach $15.2 million by 2033.
Okay, nearly tripling. What's the CAGR?
That reflects a healthy 6.9% CAGR, so real expansion happening there.
And other countries in the region?
Yeah, the source notes that Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Chile, they're following similar upward trends. It specifically calls out Colombia's CAGR at 6.7% and Chile's at 6.3%. So definitely positive momentum across Latin America.
Okay, good to note. That leaves one major region pair, the Middle East and Africa.
Right. And for this region, the source describes the market as nascent, still in its early stages for water-soluble nylon resin.
And the forecast reflects that, I take it. Slower growth.
Much slower compared to the other regions, yes. For example, Egypt is listed with the lowest CAGR mentioned overall in the report, just 3%.
Only 3%? Okay. Anyone else mentioned?
Turkey edges slightly ahead, but still low, at 3.6% CAGR. And even the rest of the Middle East category, while growing, is doing so more modestly. It's projected to go from $1.8 million in 2021 to $3.1 million by 2033, which is a 4.5% rate.
That really highlights the difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When you compare that 3% or 4.5% to the 6%, 7%, even 7.6% we saw elsewhere.
Yeah.
It begs the question, why? Why such slower adoption or market development there, according to this source?
That's a great question. The source itself doesn't really dive deep into the specific reasons for those lower regional rates in MEA. It just presents the numbers. But it clearly shows that whatever is driving the market elsewhere, maybe the scale of textile or 3D printing industries, maybe specific regulations, maybe investment levels, those factors just aren't propelling this particular market forward at the same speed in the Middle East and Africa right now.
Right. It's a good reminder that even for a material with global potential, the market reality can look very different from place to place.
Exactly. And bringing it back full circle to those applications we talked about earlier, textiles, 3D printing, pharmaceuticals, those are the practical engines translating that general industrial demand into actual market growth, just at different speeds globally.
So let's recap for everyone listening. What does this all mean for you? You've essentially just navigated a pretty detailed financial journey for this specific material, water-soluble nylon resin, based on source data looking out to 2033.
Right. You've got the global trajectory, the overall size and the 6.4% growth rate. You can see the regional dynamics, Asia Pacific really leading the charge in terms of, dynamism.
Yeah, especially with China's scale and India's standout growth rate of 7.6%. You also see solid, steady growth in North America and Europe, good potential in Latin America, and then that slower, more nascent market in the Middle East and Africa.
And critically, you understand why there's demand that's being pulled by industries like textiles, 3D printing, and pharmaceuticals looking for its specific properties, including that water solubility and often biodegradability.
So it gives you a really concise yet informed picture of where this specific material market seems to be heading financially without having to wade through dense reports yourself.
Precisely.
Okay, so here's something maybe to mull over as we wrap up. We saw this huge range in projected growth rates, right? From Egypt's 3% all the way up to India's 7.6%.
Yeah.
Now, given that the basic material properties are the same everywhere, and the global trend towards things like biodegradability is, global, what other local factors might be the most powerful drivers behind these really dramatic differences in market speed from country to country? Is it just the existing size of relevant industries like textiles or pharma? Is it specific government incentives, investment in tech like 3D printing, maybe infrastructure differences, or something else entirely? Something to think about.
This audio was created with podcastle.ai.